Welcome. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Paranormal Intelligence Bureau. I'm Agent E.
And I'm Agent A.
So, today we're going to be discussing an open case file that many of us have heard about in the past. What would that case file be?
So I'm pretty excited about this case file. This is something we probably all heard about as a little kid, in movies and stuff like that. And it's going to be Atlantis, the lost empire or the lost civilization.
Yeah, I've definitely heard about the lost city of Atlantis. The way I learned about it is through, of course, Disney.
It's always Disney.
I love Disney.
Disney covers everything. They know everything.
Yeah, how did you learn about the lost city of Atlantis?
Definitely Disney. It was a Disney movie. I think Atlantis, the Lost Empire,
Aquaman, for sure.
Little Mermaid, you know.
There's been a lot of conspiracies, a lot of rumors, a lot of just different dialogue when it came to the lost city of Atlantis.
Atlantis is said to be like a folklore.
Well, I don't know. Based on my investigation, which we'll talk about more in detail in a little bit, I found some pretty interesting things.
Well, there's always been the question, is Atlantis real or is Atlantis fake? And we're going to kind of get into just everything about Atlantis, where it started, who started the story, the myth, where it led us, who's in search of Atlantis today, who has been in search of Atlantis, and how it's altered history throughout time. And yeah.
So officially, this case file is open. Let's get to it.
All right. So this is an overview that was created by P.I.B, right? A P.I.B overview on Atlantis. And it says, for over 2,300 years, Atlantis has been one of history's greatest mysteries. An advanced civilization described by Plato, said to have existed beyond the Pillars of Hercules.
Okay.
Was it real, a lost civilization, a warning, or a myth? Plato's account, first described around 360 BC in the dialogues Timaeus and Critias, advanced island civilization located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, concentric rings of land and water, great wealth and power and technology, destroyed in a single day and night of a catastrophe.
That's crazy.
The fall of Atlantis. According to Plato, Atlantis fell after becoming corrupt and power hungry. The gods punished the civilization. Earthquakes, massive floods, the island sank beneath the sea. Atlantis was lost forever. So throughout history, there's always been accounts of some global flood, right? Like the Epic of Gilgamesh, the biblical story of Noah and Noah's Ark, So here they say, the Mesopotamia, the Hindus' texts, the Native Americans, Chinese legends. So it seems like everybody has spoken of some advanced lost civilization that gives proof that Atlantis may have been a real place.
So it's happened pretty much all over the world. Different civilizations have
spoken of an advanced civilization that could lead to Atlantis itself. Of one spoken by Plato. And this is an AI image of what Atlantis would have said to have looked like.
That place is dope.
You live there?
Oh, 100%.
That's my house right there on the edge. So these are some of the theories that has said to people believe whether it's real or not.
Okay.
So the first theory would be a fictional allegory. Atlantis was created by Plato as a philosophical lesson about pride, corruption, and the consequence of power. So just some made-up story by Plato, this poet, just to teach us a lesson about corruption and what it could lead to, the fall of a civilization.
So don't be greedy, learn how to humble yourself. It was just a teaching.
Yes, that's one theory.
Okay.
Theory 2, the Minoan connection. Atlantis may be based on the Minoan civilization to create. The eruption of Thera around 1600 BC caused tsunamis and collapse. Now this is a strong theory because there's proof of this once civilization that was around that was destroyed by tsunamis and a collapse.
Which I believe that because it happened also very similar in the city of Pompeii with Mount Vesuvius.
But the question is that Atlantis, and does that lead to Atlantis? That's the question.
Okay.
Now the next theory, Pre-Ice Age civilization. A lost civilization that existed before the end of the Ice Age. Rising sea levels may have submerged advanced cities over 12,000 years ago. Now, this is a possibility.
I believe that because global warming is real.
Yeah.
You know, we live in South Florida, what is something very common. We have high tide, low tide, those little islands that disappear. I don't know what they're called.
Sandbars?
Yeah, those, that people commonly go to, and
Yeah, and
one
then
minute they're
within a
there.
couple of hours, it's gone.
Yeah, so I can believe that an island can go underwater and come back up.
Well, this is due to ice age with glaciers melting and sea levels rising
Mm-hmm.
and islands sinking. And this happens over thousands of years, a slow process. Remember, Atlantis was gone in one day and in one night. For it to be the cause of ice melting, it would have to
Mm.
be a slow process.
Yeah.
So I don't think it could be this one. But this can be the cause of some civilizations
Yeah.
that have fell. Now, the fourth theory, the rich hat structure. The Eye of the Sahara resembles Plato's description of Atlantis, some believe is a geological proof of a lost ancient city. So this place, the Eye of Sahara, kind of resembles of the concentric rings of land
I can
and
see that.
water. And
It looks similar to that AI picture.
yes, but there's no proof of an advanced civilization that was once there. We can't
Yeah.
find any proof there.
Okay.
But it does play the description.
Yes.
Theory 5. Advanced technology. Legends suggest Atlantis possessed advanced energy crystal technology and knowledge far beyond its time. But this is unproven. We have yet to find some crazy crystal technology, that's so advanced. There's really no proof of that. It's just folklore so far.
Okay, so we have some theories, some very probable theories. Which one do you think resembles more with what you believe?
I'm gonna have to go with the first theory of Plato creating a allegory just to teach us a lesson
Mm-hmm.
about greed and power and corruption and how the gods can get mad and bring down a civilization.
Okay. I would say I believe more the Meonan one, because I do believe that a civilization can go down with, like natural catastrophes.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, so we have a good overview of what today's case file is going to be. But we talk about the downfall of Atlantis. We talk about theories of Atlantis, but I want to know where Atlantis came from. How did it all start?
So, like, who created Atlantis?
Yeah.
Yeah, Plato talks about Atlantis, but who built it?
Yeah, we know about, Plato said this, blah blah blah. But to understand where Atlantis was created, it actually goes back to Greek mythology, right?
Mhm.
So with Greek mythology, we have we're going to talk about a specific person that created Atlantis, and that god is Poseidon. So Poseidon, as we all know, he was one of the 12 great Olympians, and he was the ruler of the sea,
Okay.
right? So what you might think, why would Poseidon be creating Atlantis? Who is Poseidon? So Poseidon was the son of Kronos and Rhea. Some of his more notorious siblings are Zeus and Hades. He is known to be the god of the ocean, the sea. His symbols, as we all know, Poseidon. He has a power for tridents.
Yeah, I need one.
That'd be pretty cool. You would resemble him with different ocean animals like dolphins, some horses, some wolves. He's very passionate, powerful, unpredictable, very protective. So we ask, why would he create Atlantis? So his role in Atlantis, according to Plato, is that Poseidon fell in love with a mortal woman and chose to create Atlantis for her to protect her. Right? So it started with a love story, just like everything and everything.
So you're telling me he built Atlantis for a woman?
Yes.
Okay.
So Poseidon created Atlantis for a woman. He created the land for her, and they had 10 sons. And basically, he made his eldest son the king of Atlantis. And from then on, we have a powerful generational family that created what Atlantis was said to be.
Just his fortress.
A fortress.
An empire.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about Poseidon and his love story and how that happened. So Poseidon met a mortal woman, and this mortal woman was named Plato. And basically, what, according to Plato, is that he met the woman, he decided to protect her. He wasn't allowed to take her to Olympus with her, so he created somewhere he can keep her and keep her safe. So he built Atlantis in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and they had 10 sons, which I thought was a little bit weird, like already 10 sons, and then
That's a lot of kids.
it's a lot of kids. And then on top of that, they were 5 pair of twins. So all of them were twins.
5 pairs of twins and all sons. Yeah, I don't think that's by an accident. That's not coincidental.
Absolutely not. So then he made his, like I said, his eldest son Atlas the king, and then they were able to build a prosperous, advanced, and powerful civilization that was blessed by the gods. Just to give a quick idea of how big Atlantis was, so it says, for beyond them were the pillars of Hercules. There is a certain island which is larger than Libya and Asia put together.
That's huge.
And from this island you may pass over to other islands, and from these to the whole of the opposite continent. So think about it. They're in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, where they're able to hit one continent and the other continent.
You can cross right over.
You can definitely cross over that.
Now, a few things I want to mention. You mentioned the 10 sons and sets of twins, and I don't think that's by an accident. And if they're an advanced civilization today, we have the technology to be able to select sperm cells and have specific kids that we want. So if we wanted to, we can have a boy, we can have a girl, we could almost select eye color, hair color, down to that span, can't we?
Absolutely, that's very possible. And if they're such a great civilization, like they're saying, I'm pretty sure.
But not only that, Poseidon too, being a god,
he
himself could just create whatever he wanted, sons, daughters.
Yeah, and
twins.
obviously, back then, having a son was more important than having a daughter.
Yeah, and when we talk about the probability of having 10 sons and rolling the dice, the likelihood of not having a daughter within there,
and
that's pretty.
10
that's
of them,
hard
and
to
they're all
believe.
twins.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. So I want to go a little bit more into detail about how the 10 kings of Atlantis came to be. We talked about Atlas being his firstborn and being the king of Atlantis. Guys, I'm going to butcher these names.
Just go for it.
They're so... We'll just go with it.
So these are the 10 twins.
These are the 10 sets of twins.
They all look alike.
Right? They all look maxers. So we already spoke about Atlas. He was known for leadership, unity, and wisdom.
Now, again, these are all demigods.
They're all demigods.
Yeah, because you said Poseidon was with a mortal woman, half god, half, man.
So he's like Hercules.
Yeah, like Hercules.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So then we have Gadiros. He's the king of Emulus, and he's known for law and order, wisdom. We have Ampuus, king of Elaeopus, known for agriculture, prosperity, and abundance. We have Menuus, king of Menosis. He's known for horses, warriors, loyalty, strength. Aegeus, we're going to say that. He's known for great naval power, harbors, and expansion. We have Damastor. He's the king of Damastor, known for justice, discipline, prosperity, and fair rule. Avenor is known for craftsmanship, building, innovation, and nature. We have Aeolus. He is known for metals, mining, wealth, industry. Diapris, known for trade, diplomacy, wealth. And then this one was pretty cool. His name is Critias, and he's known for knowledge, learning, military skill, and tradition. So together, the 10 kings ruled Atlantis in unity, upheld the laws of Poseidon, and prospered for many generations until pride, corruption led to the downfall of the great civilization.
Man, this sounds pretty organized. This sounds like a well put together system, and not only that, these are 10 sons of Poseidon. And it's almost like if you was to get Poseidon and break him down into 10 fractions, these would be like his skill sets divided, so again, like it goes back to, was this done by an accident or on purpose? And they all run different kingdoms within Atlantis, and they're doing things within each city, I
Yeah.
guess,
We talked about the vastness of Atlantis and how big they were. It said the size
of
of.
Asia and Libya combined.
So it makes sense
It's
why.
the size of a continent.
Yes. It makes sense why Poseidon would want to have so many kids and break up the kingdom into many little kingdoms and have mini hymns running
Most
everything.
definitely. And too, like you said, his wife being a mortal and her not being allowed to enter Olympia with the gods, when Poseidon leaves, who's there to protect the mother and
Yeah,
the
it
kingdom?
has to be their kids.
The kids. And not only that, when he created Atlantis, he surrounded it by water, which he controls. So it's like
Absolutely.
this barrier. It's just a huge family fortress
It's a
out there,
huge family
well
fortress.
structured.
So I want to go back and piggyback on the vastness of Atlantis, right? And I found this map, and this map was inside of an encyclopedia in an encyclopedia from 1882. So I'm going to pull it up, and it's going to show us exactly where Atlantis was. Second. You guys should be seeing it extremely shortly.
And this is based on a map you found
And
that was in the encyclopedia.
inside an encyclopedia in 1882. Perfect. So I don't think this map gives Atlantis justice based on what Plato's accounts were.
And where is Atlantis located?
So it's showing that Atlantis is right here.
Okay.
Right? So the pillars of Hercules are right over here in this little section.
Yeah.
So according to Plato, Atlantis went from hit one continent and able to go to another continent.
Now I believe the location is true,
Yes.
right in the center of the Atlantic Ocean, but I don't think the size
Gives
does
it just
it doesn't give it justice. And not only that, the shape of it doesn't
Yeah,
fall
I
into
agree.
the description of what Plato spoke about.
I agree.
And two, they said the size of Asia and Libya combined.
Yeah, this
It
is
looks
Asia.
like in length, but not in width, It has to be much larger than that, where you can travel from both continents on the left and
I
to
would
the
say
right.
it probably fit all this. Because Asia's pretty big and so it would be all this, I would assume.
Yeah, but to fit concentric rings, all those lands would have to be stretched out further apart.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But this is from an encyclopedia
In the 1860?
1882. So it makes you wonder, how did they get this information?
Probably a reference image of somebody who is interested in Atlantis and created this map to point out his theory on what he believes Plato was trying to point out.
Okay. I haven't seen any other depictions. This is the only map I found. Do you know of any other?
So if you go to my folder, there's a guy that goes by the name Athanasius Kircher or Kirker. I'm gonna butcher these names too.
It's fine. They're weird names.
Don't butcher me in the comments. So Kircher was interested in Atlantis,
Okay.
right? And he was from the 1600s. So this is like 400 years ago from us. And he created these 12 books where he would talk about the cosmos and the way the world works. But he believed that Earth was kind of hollow. Not completely hollow, but there was these caverns, these subterranean caverns within within the Earth, right? And he created this one book called Mundus Subterraneus. You can open that too in my folder.
This looks creepy.
Yeah, so this is what he had thought Earth to look like.
So this image he thought is what Earth looked like?
Yeah, that there was caverns within Earth and it was hollow, and he believes Atlantis is within there. Now, if you go to my folder and go to Underground World and the Man Who Knew Everything.
Okay, so we have often described as a man who knew everything, Kircher. He was a German geist polymath?
Yes.
What is a polymath?
So a polymath is somebody who's kind of like an expert in multiple subjects.
Okay.
And back in the day, they were considered a Renaissance man. And it's very rare today to find somebody who's a polymath. And I'm starting to think that I'm a polymath. I'm diving in so many subjects these days.
Mm-hmm.
And
What makes you think that you're a polymath?
so, based on our last episode of gnomes, goblins, and duendes, and we're talking about mining and minerals and cobalt and how cobalt meant kobold, the evil demon spirit in
Mm-hmm.
the mines, you know. So I started getting into geology
Okay.
and archaeology and
Okay.
marine
A
biology,
little bit of everything.
a little bit of everything. And you must think why? It's because it
Yeah.
all leads to all this. If I wanted to study this, these are the subjects I needed to know about,
Mm-hmm.
right? And back then, to be a polymath was normal. Plato himself was a polymath. You know, he knew so many subjects. So maybe you could run through this a little bit, and it'll say how many subjects
Yeah.
he knew
So
about.
it says that had a broad range of interests, writing about everything from geology, geography, sinology, biology, medicine, engineering, theology, music, linguistics. So he knew a little bit about everything. He was
Yep.
interested.
The man who knew everything.
And this is his drawing.
This is another one of his drawings.
Oh
It looks like
man.
these are the constellations surrounding Earth in the sky. Each one of these individuals, the 13 constellations. And yeah, he was interested in the cosmos, astrology. Maybe you could run through that passage too.
Yeah, it says that he basically was interested in a little bit of everything. Look, he talks about Mount Vesuvius and his time there too, and how he believed it was from a dragon.
So now that dragon, there's a lot of Mayan predictions and artifacts and little statues that depict humans riding on a dragon that looks kind of like that too. It's pretty
I
crazy.
mean, right now, House of Dragons is the thing. Maybe that.
Well, people don't are said not to believe in dinosaurs, but to believe that dinosaur bones are actually dragons. Now, read that description about that.
So it says he also witnessed the eruptions of Etna and Stromboli while on a visit to Sicily. Kirchner also imagines that dragons inhabited Earth's interior, both the regular four-legged kind and a two-legged Swiss version or Draco. He also professed to know the location of the lost city of Atlantis in the Atlantic, halfway between Africa and the Americas,
Now,
if
he
you're
just
wondering.
described a draconian, a
Mm-hmm.
reptilian being who stands on 2 feet.
Oh
Now,
man.
we go back to our
Sorry.
alien
Mm-hmm.
species about reptilians, and we talk about living in the caverns, you know, within Earth. It makes sense, reptiles being within there, you know?
What makes you think that he would how why would he draw this? Is this something he saw or he's something that he really believed? It makes you wonder, right?
No, he definitely believed this. You do not do all of this work for nothing. And if you go to in my folder again, and it says Athanasius Kircher's rare books collection, you don't dedicate your life to these subjects without believing it to the core.
Yeah, it looks like he discussed a little bit about everything, right? He talked about just the world, underworld, China, different
I want to find some of these
everything.
books and read them.
I mean, I think they're all in Greek or Italian, if I'm not wrong, unless they have a different depiction of
There
it.
has to be translations
Yeah.
of these books.
Look, archaeology, hieroglyphics. He really was a man interested in everything.
And
Doesn't
again,
this look like the landslide from the gnome?
oh yeah, in our last, episode, I talked about the landslide of, I forgot what the location was. It was the biggest landslide known to man, where the gnomes destroyed a whole town because of the same thing, greed and
Read.
corruption that
Doesn't
they
that look like
helped.
that?
Yeah, almost from one side, yeah.
Cool. So this man knew a little bit about everything, right? So there had to be more people like him back
Yeah,
then, like you said.
again, this is all stemming from Plato, and people grab Plato's subject and they dedicate their lives in search of Atlantis, right? And then we have those movies, Journey to the Center of
Love
Earth.
that
We
one.
got the movie like The Last King Kong, where King
Oh
Kong
yeah.
entered the Earth and he went. It was like upside
Yeah,
down
an
world,
upside down
and he went to
world.
claim his axe. And again, you have these giant reptile lizards standing on 2 legs, and then you got King Kong living inside the subterraneans.
Yeah,
You
that
know.
makes sense.
Now another thing I'll show is an Go to my folder and it says an illustration of Atlantis in London magazine.
Wrong one. All right. So a London magazine illustration. Oh, it didn't take me. Is it this one?
Yeah, it's that first picture.
Let me just open it from here.
I think this is just gonna show the image. Go to images at the top. Oh, click the first one. Oh, and no, it's gonna take you to the same
Yeah, it's the
place.
same page. Okay.
Yeah, so in London, just again in search of Atlantis, they never found it.
Let me see. So it shows here an artwork, a vintage illustration of the legendary lost city of Atlantis appeared in a London magazine in 1931. So
Yeah.
based on that image we just saw, the artwork offers a highly dramatic fantasy deception of the civilization. So it was built in Denmark in 1931. And this was that article. Just, I guess, a picture of it.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. I'm not going to lie.
But again, so many people are obsessed with Atlantis.
How I found the lost Atlantis. Okay, so there's another. So we have so far an encyclopedia map showing Atlantis. And now we have another newspaper article from 1931 depicting Atlantis as well.
Yep.
So it's a hot commodity talking about Atlantis.
Most definitely. Yeah.
According to Plato, Atlantis was a vast and advanced island empire beyond the Pillars of Hercules, where its people were prosperous, disciplined, and lived in harmony until pride and greed led to its downfall. One of the most important things that we saw in Atlantis, we talked about how each son ran a kingdom, and it makes sense why. We had one that controlled the temple of Poseidon that was dedicated to Poseidon, the protector of the island and its people. Its walls were covered in gold, silver, ivory, and a auriculum. We're gonna get into auriculum. And then inside was a colossal statue of Poseidon riding a chariot pulled by 6 winged horses.
That's insane. Kind of looks like the Lincoln Memorial.
It kind of does, right? So they had a powerful empire that ruled many surrounding lands and islands. Its influence stretched across much of its known world. Only ancient Athens dared to stand against its might. Next is their farming. They had advanced irrigation systems, brought water across the land. They had crops that grew year long because of its fertile soil and its careful planning, and people had food and resources year long. So the daily life in Atlantis was that they had beautiful homes, they enjoyed music, arts, sports, festivals, all dedicated to Poseidon. They valued education, law, community. They had purpose within their community.
Yeah.
So it sounds like a cool place to live, right?
Excuse me.
Other things is that they had mining. So Atlantis had a lot of mountains and volcanoes, and they had rich minings of gold, silver, copper, auriculum, and other metals. So a lot of these metals they were able to put around all the houses and things like that, which we'll go more into detail. And forests where they supplied wood, and they had countless animals. They even had elephants.
And they used them to ride them?
I don't know.
Entertainment, probably.
I guess I don't know what they would use elephants for, but they had. They had merchant ships that traveled to faraway lands. Atlantis traded metals, crops, crafts, and luxury goods. Its wealth was unmatched, making it the envy of the ancient world. Also, to fear was their military power. They were very strong, highly organized. they were they were feared across the seas. Their country land also, they had a lot of fertile land, mountains, timber, rivers, hot springs, soil. They had enormous harbors as well, which connected canals to the oceans. So the ships can sail directly into the heart of Atlantis from any place within the city or the ocean. So it sounds like a pretty nice place to live.
It's a pretty well structured system.
Yeah, they
Very
have
well put.
everything pretty organized.
Yeah.
I came across this video, and it's basically an AI video of what Atlantis would look like, and how it would look like for everyday people.
Okay.
So let me just show that video to you guys because I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I want to see what it would look
Yeah,
like.
because I think it's cool to we're giving all this information, these pictures, but we have the luxury of AI now, so we can see what we might think it might look like. So let me just pull that up for you guys. Give me 1 second.
We asked AI to show us what Atlantis looked like. We asked AI to show us what Atlantis looked
It
like.
looks like a lot of Law and Order.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much. It looks, to have a well-structured system like that, it looks like a lot of rules are in place. Like I can imagine if somebody broke a rule or if somebody got caught stealing, like what would happen to them? And when you get kicked out of Atlantis?
I'm pretty sure you would.
Or you get killed.
You would get killed because I don't think they want anyone to know what they have, especially
Or the secrets and the knowledge.
Secrets and knowledge of Atlantis, specifically the Oraculum, right? So though I want to go into detail of what that divine metal is.
Okay.
Right? Let me just stop sharing here.
Yeah, because I heard you say auriculum and I was pretty interested in
a lot of people haven't heard about this metal before, and this metal is only found in Atlantis.
So they're the only ones. Well, yeah, that's probably why they were so advanced.
So the Oraculum is a divine metal in Atlantis. It was rare. It was a rare and sacred metal mentioned by the philosophers, and it was more precious than gold, right? So the Oraculum, which in Greek means Oroculus, is mountain copper. It's extraordinary. It's mysterious. It's brighter than gold, resistant to corrosion, rare and difficult to obtain, and can only be found in the mines of Atlantis. Right? So they would use it to line their walls, their temples, and their royal palaces because it was incredibly durable and resistant to earthquakes, corrosion. They used it as well for their technology and machinery, so it helped power all their devices, their instruments, and it was very conductive, and it had a lot of energy channeling properties. Also, they used it for energy transmission, which is, like I said, it was an excellent conductor because of its unique energy force used by the Atlanteans to power their city, their lights, their machines, and even their force fields. They used it in their sacred objects like their altars, their talismans, to connect to higher realms and enhance their spiritual abilities.
Whoa.
And they also used it in their weapons and their armor, which were said to be lighter than any metal, yet stronger, offering more of a superior connection to it. The cool thing about Oraculum is that it was, like I said, it's mined from the sacred mountains deep within the earth of Atlantis. Some accounts even suggest it was infused with the power and energy of Poseidon himself, and it was making it a divine gift to the people of Atlantis. So, the biggest question here, was Oraculum the power source of Atlantis?
Most definitely.
Right? So, some people say, like I said, it harnessed and it was able to conduct natural energy. It powered the great crystal in the temple of Poseidon, which distributed energy within the city. And it was even used in combinations with other crystals and different chambers to be able to sustain clean energy. So
That's pretty insane. So the whole city was being powered by this mineral,
yes,
and they
so
used it throughout the walls, the vehicles, armor plates, weapons. It was the
everything.
heart of Atlantis,
It's the heart of Atlantis, and
their power source.
it was their power source.
It's
And
almost like a nuclear plant.
so they said it was stronger than gold. It didn't rust. So it makes you wonder, like, this was definitely their power source, you know? You're getting into geology right now, right? And you can think about,
Now, as I'm getting into geology, I'm interested in minerals that are highly conductive, right? Because that's what I'm in search of. I'm looking for this crystal that nobody has yet to find. Because again, when we're talking about cobalt and how they put cobalt in our technology, in our phones, in aerospace, in our jets, in our batteries, it powers almost our own civilization. It's cobalt,
absolutely.
and it's blue. It's almost like this, you know, is our lives are ran by cobalt, right? And so when I think of this, you know, is auriculum actually a real mineral? Is there somewhere I can find it? Where would I go to go in search of it? Because I know you said it was only found in Atlantis, only found in their mines. It was possibly a part of Poseidon himself,
Yes.
you know, that had a god's power, and
Yes.
he implemented it throughout the city and he gifted it to them.
Yes.
You know, and this is probably why they've been able to lead with such power over every other civilization in the outside world.
Yeah. So you cannot find auriculum
In the real world.
in the real world. It was only found in Atlantis.
Okay.
But there is a story that came out of some deep divers that found auriculum in a shipwreck,
Now we're talking.
right? So I want to share that article with you guys. Oops.
Now we're talking.
So they were able to find auriculum today in a shipwreck, right? And I thought it was pretty cool because you wonder, how did they know it was auriculum? So true auriculum, which is a legendary metal described by Plato in that could only be produced in Atlantis, right? They actually put it in a museum. Just to give you a breakdown really quick, a marine archaeologist recovered nearly 100 genuine ancient ingots of 2,600-year-old Greek merchant shipwreck resting off the coast of Gela. So its conductivity is 80% copper, 20% zinc, and it has
highly conductive.
And it has small lead, iron, and charcoal. But I want to show you guys the image of
what they found.
So this is what they found. This is how it looks like.
What the?
Let me see if I can open on the wiki page.
Wiki.
Here it is.
That's crazy.
So this is what they found in the shipwreck, right? And
that's auriculum.
And they found it in 2015. So it was very, very, like, what you're talking 10 years ago. They were able to find this, and if you look at it, there's blue on it a little bit.
Yeah, hues of blue.
And if we go back to the video of the AI image of what it would look like,
everything was blue, like,
and gold.
Yeah.
So it resembled
throughout
this.
their army. Yeah, if you was to shine it up and make it pretty, it would resemble that throughout the city. Now, my thing is, I wonder why it's shaped that way.
Well, if they found it in a shipwreck, I would assume
they stole it.
They stole it
like
from
pirates.
Yeah, because they talk about the only people that feared Atlantis was ancient Greece.
Yeah, the Athens.
The Athens, right? So
yeah, they were at war with them.
So I think what happened is when Atlantis
fell,
they went and recovered a lot of their armor, because it said that Julius Caesar wanted the auriculum for himself because he wanted to put it in their armor. He wanted to line the walls like Atlantis. Yes.
But the thing is, I don't think it's energetic at the moment.
Nope.
Because again, remember when we talk about that crystal, it's sentient.
It's sentient.
And right now, I don't think it's sentient. It's almost like it's not on right now. It's not powered.
It's not
So it
powered.
wouldn't be as useful as it once was described. You know, but again, I still goes back to why is it shaped like, why did they shape it into these poles?
Yeah, I
Like that,
don't
what
know.
were they using it for? You know?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It kind of reminds me of like the movie Disclosure Day. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah,
right?
like a
The little
stone.
stone that and they were
Yeah.
conducting it too. So maybe that's how they would use it.
This is a lot of it. You said 40 pieces.
Yes, 40
Nice.
pieces. So it's a lot of it for sure.
Okay.
So I thought that was pretty cool. So we talk about basically how Atlantis came to be.
Well, through Plato's story
Yes.
and through his dialogue, he says that Poseidon fell in love with a woman, Cretias,
Claido.
Cleito. Poseidon fell in love with Cleito, made Atlantis specifically for her, had 10 sons, 5 sets of twins,
Kids.
divided the kingdoms into 10,
Mhm.
the oldest son, Atlas, being the leader of the whole kingdom. A very well organized system with I guess a mineral powering the whole thing into the armor, weapons, the city,
Everything.
and everything.
Yeah. So we.
So I think we need to really, I think, go back into Plato
Mhm.
and really discuss more about his life. so we can get an understanding of how he came up with this story.
And all this information.
Yeah, because remember, we are questioning whether or not if it was real or fake or not, you know.
Yes.
So if you can go to my folder, Plato, a polymath, we're gonna hear polymath a lot. Again, all of these greats were great in multiple subjects. It wasn't just one subject.
Okay.
Now, Plato, a polymath, does it say what he was a polymath at?
So it says that Plato was one of the foundations of Western philosophy. He really liked philosophy, mathematics, and political science. He excelled as a writer, a teacher, and a visionary. So he was interested in a lot of things. So Plato was his achievements, like I said, was philosophy, mathematics, geometry, political science, and literature.
Yes, right. So Plato as well was taught by Socrates. Socrates was his teacher,
Cool.
right? Now Socrates, he was teaching young men during the time how to question everything, right? And during that time, the government didn't like that. They
Okay.
didn't want young men questioning everything. So they held Socrates in court and they actually had him drink a glass of poison
Oh my God.
and killed him, right? That was his death sentence.
For giving
Young men
men
freedom, I guess, in the mind to question everything.
to question everything, how to use their mind for knowledge and to never say just accept what they're like, dig deeper.
But the thing is, what Socrates was questioning was a lot. It was in theology. He was questioning religions. You know, a lot of these things were considered blasphemy.
They're like,
What
he's a witch.
You know, so what Socrates was doing was kind of breaking the law.
Okay.
You know, and then he was making young men basically break the law.
Teaching them to
Yeah.
be like that.
So when Socrates died, it basically led Plato's on this philosophy, you know, search, and he created an academy. And in this academy is where young men would join and they would themselves become philosophers and study all different types of subjects. And in the last 20 years of Plato's life, Aristotle actually signed up into the academy.
Oh, how cool.
And another great philosopher.
Yes.
So right there, you're talking about Aristotle learned from Plato's learned from Socrates, you know. So
it
you
was
have
just wisdom again, by wisdom to wisdom to wisdom.
some of the greats
Wow.
who study just multiple subjects who were experts in it, you know. So imagine being taught by the greats.
Yeah, that's amazing, right?
Right. So if we go back into my folder as well, we can go to Palestria.
Okay.
Now, Palestria,
This is a cute place.
this is kind of where, give you a little glimpse of where Plato grew up, right? Now, this arena, and yes, it's an arena where they trained in battle. They learned how to wrestle, combat skills, you know. So besides learning philosophy and all these other subjects, you
Mhm.
needed to learn combat skills,
Mhm.
right? That was just a part of everything. So Plato was known to be a great wrestler, and he was known for having great broad shoulders, right?
Mm.
So besides being a poet and everything else he was great at combat, you know?
Yeah, so it says Palestria was an ancient Greek wrestling school and physical training facility. So they basically had intellectual hubs where they would debate young men on topics like friendship and temperance, social meetings, outdoor exercise yards. So it was like a school for young men to become the best versions of themselves.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, and during that time, it was normal to be a polymath.
Mm-hmm.
And today, the school system is set up to force kids to become a polymath. You know, I know you grew up in California. I don't know if it's the same,
Yeah.
but here in Florida, I went to different schools where you're either going to three subjects in one day or all six of your subjects in one day. And they want you to learn all subjects and become masters of all subjects. They really don't want you to stay stuck in one subject and take it all the way through your life, go to college, stuck in one subject. They want you to study all of them, become masters at all
Yeah,
of them.
but not everyone can be a polymath. Not everyone is interested in every single subject.
That's
Like
true.
it has to be that rare individual, just like you spoke about Socrates, you spoke about Plato, Aristotle, these are very famous names, but I'm pretty sure that those schools probably didn't have a lot of students or
Yeah.
students that can keep up with the curriculum to learn all these things.
Yeah. Well, too, again, it was a trend to
Mhm.
become a Renaissance man. So today is not a trend to want to know all of these subjects.
Nah, today the trend's to be a streamer.
You know? Yeah, exactly. So we even seen like that viral video where they had kids in college reading and to see what grade level they were
Yes.
reading at, like that doesn't help us.
Yeah.
So it's good to become polymaths and excel at these subjects. It was good to sit down and wonder about the world and how it worked
works.
around us. These polymaths, they would sit down and just study shapes, wonder why these shapes were structured the way they are. Why do you find these shapes in nature, the metaphysical shapes, the ones you don't see with your eye, and even some of the great scientists like Einstein, Nikola Tesla, all of these people were great, and they studied the world around us and wanted to understand how it worked.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
So I'm reading a book called Ciencia, and it's different subjects, like science, mathematics, physics, chemistry, astrology, you name it. And in the beginning, it was basically saying like a warning, basically saying, be careful with what you learn from this book. And I was like, what do you mean be careful? I'm just learning what you learn in school, basically, And what it ended up saying is like one of the most famous equations, E equals mc squared, which comes from Einstein, led to the atomic bomb. So it's crazy how just math can lead to destruction and chaos.
Yeah.
By an accident.
Yeah, knowledge is power, and I don't think any physicist, any chemist, any biologist goes into science to try to create something so horrible like the atomic bomb. They go to better the world.
You'd be surprised. There is some scientists and some madmen who create just diabolical stuff in the lab.
Yeah.
You have biochemists who create, diseases and stuff in the lab. Just stuff we shouldn't be working on.
Absolutely.
Right? And during that time, so back to Plato. We talked about more or less how he grew up here, him being a wrestler, being into combat skills, all the subjects that he learned. Now, where did Plato himself get this story of Atlantis?
Yeah, for real.
Right? So you gave a rundown of Plato's story, but where did he get it from?
Like, did he create it by himself?
Of his own, but it's actually a story that was passed down through his family.
Okay.
Right? Now, his family is considered a family lineage of the Jobites. Now, if you go to my folder and you click on family of Jobites, and it basically says that Plato was related to a man named Solon. And Solon is a man who would travel to Egypt and meet with these priests. Okay. Now, Solon is 7 generations behind Plato. I believe like in the early 600 BC. So Plato's from 360 BC. 300s BC, and Solon is from the 600s BC, right?
Yeah. So it says that the family of Dropides is immortalized in Western literature because Plato used his family tree to validate the authenticity of the Atlantis narrative.
Yes. So Solon,
So it says it right here.
yeah, basically
So
how it was passed down.
yeah, Solon to Dropides 2 to Critias, another Critias younger, and then to Plato.
Yeah, so the name Critias is in his family name, which he included in the dialogue.
Yes.
Which again, when you explain Atlantis, his last son's name, Poseidon's last son's name was Critias.
Yeah.
And so this is just going to show Plato's lineage. Now Solon, his great grandfather, would travel to Egypt, and these priests, he would meet with these priests, and these priests would tell him about Atlantis. And Solon would write these poems, right, about Atlantis. Now there was a city called the city of Sais.
Oh, that's where that first one, the Egyptian priest Sais.
Yeah, maybe you could pull that up in my folder, the city of Sais, and we could show them. So the city of Sais is in Egypt.
That's pretty. Look at this place.
I don't think it's going through. Let me see. Disconnect and connect again. So during this time, disconnect and connect again.
Doing it.
And during this time, there was little kids in the town, and they would basically recite some of the newest poems created by some of the best poets. And when you would come into the town, you would hear the little kids reciting Solon's poem about Atlantis in the city of Sais.
Okay. So kind of like when we have Shakespeare and the Shakespeare poems.
Yeah, you could say, or just, you know, singing Christmas carols, kind of like that. So if you traveled here, you would hear the kids reciting Solon's poem about Atlantis.
Look how pretty that place
And
is.
this is how people will learn about Atlantis.
Okay, but now I'm a little conflicted now, right? So what do the Egyptians have to do with Atlantis, right? So you have two great civilizations. So did they help each other? Did one know about the other, and that's why they're talking about it?
Well, we could get into that now too. If you want to go into my folder and go to Thoth. Now, Thoth the Egyptian, he was an Atlantean. And Thoth, he lived within Atlantis, and he had a job. And his job was to leave Atlantis and to travel the world and look for people who could possibly live in Atlantis,
Okay.
who carried wisdom. And Thoth would see it in them and say, all right, come with me. You're allowed to come to Atlantis. And once you come into Atlantis, you wouldn't leave.
So
Maybe you could read that?
yeah. Thoth the Atlantean is a legendary priest, king, and occult figure popularized by modern literature. And the most notable in 1930s book, The Emerald Tablets of Thoth the Atlantean. So Thoth was an immortal being from the sunken continent of Atlantis who fled to ancient Egypt, where he founded Egyptian civilization, built the Great Pyramid of Giza, and hid the ancient wisdom of his homeland.
Now, does that answer your question?
Wow, it does.
So you said, how does Egypt and Atlantis connect? Well, Thoth, an Atlantean, when Atlantis fell, was he even there when Atlantis fell, or was he in the outside world? And now he would travel to Egypt and teach the wisdom and try to restart the civilization.
So that's him.
So this is how they depicted him. We don't necessarily know if he really had the head of an ibis, but the reason why they depicted him with the head of an ibis is because an ibis digs its beak into the earth to dig for worms and
Bugs,
goods.
yeah.
The reason why they depict Thoth as an ibis is because Thoth digs so deep into knowledge, into its core, into information, that he knows everything.
Wow.
So he was this great Atlantean. He would spread the wisdom and knowledge.
So it seems like Atlantis had people that they would send to different continents
And
to try to recruit
into Atlantis.
into Atlantis
Yeah.
to better them.
Because you have to think, like, the subjects that we think are so grand, like let's say quantum physics and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, in Atlantis, little kids are learning quantum physics, like
Yeah.
in kindergarten.
Yeah.
So if you had any like glimpse of wisdom and knowledge, Thoth would see it in you, take you back, and you would gain even more wisdom in
Wow.
Atlantis, you know, and you would become an Atlantean.
How cool.
But
So
that
that
was his
answers my
job.
question. Okay.
It does, right? Now, let's go back to, I guess, Solon.
Okay, so we were talking about Solon.
Right? We talked
Okay.
about Kircher.
Yes.
You know what? Let's go to Bigelow and Iselin's research. Above. Bigelow, above. Right.
Oh, right here.
Yeah. Right. You want to read that?
Yeah. Henry Bigelow and Columbus Island never directly researched a literal lost city of Atlantis. Rather, their pioneering work at the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution paved the way for modern research expeditions. Decades later, scientists aboard the modern Hui, I guess, oh, that's
The
their
ship?
acronym, yeah, operated, discovered the actual geological lost city, a spectacular field of towering deep ocean alkaline hydrothermal vents. So the lost city has nothing to do with the mythological submerged civilization described by Plato. Instead, it is a real-world, highly studied deep-sea ecosystem located more than 2,000 feet below the surface level of the Atlantic Ocean.
So again, this is just pointing out to actual civilizations that actually was searching for Atlantis. You know, they may have not found Atlantis, but they found this great grand sunken city.
Yeah, they found something, and that happened in 1931.
Yeah. Let me see if you go to images, maybe they'll show a picture
Yes.
of the underwater images.
Let's see.
Yeah,
Oh,
they went on a
right.
trip. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The city resembling Atlantis.
I'm not gonna open because that's a New York Post, and they have like a million ads probably.
Yeah.
But this would be it.
Yeah,
So
so
they
proof
found-
of a civilization. It's not necessarily Atlantis, but it's proof of a grand civilization.
That's pretty cool.
Now, if you go to floods on my folder, there's a thing called Meltwater Post 1A, Meltwater Post 1B. And these are just throughout history showing that glaciers that actually did melt and cause sea levels to rise by meters. So you read that?
So Meltwater Pulse 1A was a period of catastrophic global sea level rise that occurred about 14,600 years ago. Global sea levels surged by roughly 16 to 25 meters, which is roughly about 52 to 82 feet in just 340 to 500 years.
So again, you see a slow, gradual process of over hundreds of years reaches 16 to 25 meters, right? So it goes back to that theory of the pre-ice age, you know, era. But again, it goes back to Atlantis was destroyed in one day, one night. So
allegedly.
If Atlantis is so advanced and so smart, they would have known about glaciers melting and sea levels rising. They would have prepared for it. They would have done something about it.
They would have risen with it.
Yeah. You know, so that's why I eliminated that theory for myself. But again, this is just proof that there are signs of glaciers melting, sea levels rising over hundreds of years, which causes some islands to disappear. You know, like they say Florida is not going to be around. South Florida is not going to be around
much longer.
I believe like the year 2036 or something like that.
I believe that.
So now let's get into the Eye of Sahara.
Oh yeah, that was one of the things that we saw in our overview. That they said this was possibly where Atlantis was.
Yeah, because it resembles the concentric rings of land and water.
Okay, so here's a picture of it. I can see.
Now, doesn't that look like Atlantis?
Yeah, it
It
really
looks like
does.
the AI images we're looking at.
Yeah, resembles a giant bull's eye with the sedimentary rock formations, concentric rings, and circular ridges. Yeah, I can see like the temple being right here in the middle, and then the
Yeah,
water, and
but
then the
again,
rings.
why is this caused? I believe it's just tectonic
Oh,
plates mashing together.
yeah, I believe so too, because it's just a massive geological formation. I don't believe that it would be out here. I don't believe that
Yeah, so go to
theory.
the next picture. Let's look at it from space. If you go to my folder, it's a NASA link right under the Eye of Sahara rich chat structure.
This is from space. This one.
That is a picture from space, the year
Yeah.
2011.
And right here are the two faults. So where the tectonic plate sits, one
Yeah.
against each other. So that makes more sense.
But when you think of a cataclysm that has happened, just like volcano eruptions, earthquakes, tsunamis, did something get wiped out here?
Yeah, but I don't think it was
You don't
Atlantis.
think it was Atlantis?
No,
Yeah.
I don't think it was one because there's no water.
But again, look how well, not now,
Not
because
now,
there was
you're
a
right.
cataclysm.
But there's no, I don't know.
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Absolutely, which is why we're here.
Yeah.
But I don't see any body of water around here. Or maybe the rock structures might tell us there's water, or if there ever was
So you
water.
don't think these concentric rings play a role in the resemblance of?
No, I think it's something else.
Okay. All right. So we'll drop that one for now.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
love the way that looks.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
Not
pretty
gonna lie.
crazy.
So there's definitely some. So so far we know where Plato got his story from,
Yeah.
why he was so interested in all these subjects.
Yep.
Where it came from, who thought this. That was pretty cool, and how that legend went to Egypt.
He's a Atlantean who survived. And again, it's like you said, how old is Thoth?
Yeah.
He said so. From Billy Carson's research, Thoth is said to have lived for thousands of years, and he's reincarnated and transferred his consciousness from body to body. Now, again, is this some Atlantean skills
Yeah.
and techniques, and is this how the Atlanteans were able to live so long? Because remember, we're asking how long was Atlantis around, and how old were the Atlantean people?
Yeah, that's something that I was questioning during my actual research, because I learned from the Disney movie, obviously, because that's the only one that I know about, that like Kida, the Princess Kida, was 8,000 years old when Milo met her, right? So, and she was young. She looked good,
Yeah, she didn't look 8,000 years old.
So it makes me wonder, like, how old they were. So I asked AI to see if they can come up with an answer, because not even Plato really had an answer to that question.
Thoth's age is said to be a number to an exponent.
Forever years old.
So it's thousands.
Yes. So when I asked AI, let me just pull that up for you guys.
Okay.
It said that there's no historical answer on how long Atlanteans lived. It says that they were mortal, blessed by a semi-divine lineage, but there was no lifespan given. But we can go back to different comic books, movies. So in Marvel, they are said to live about 150 years old.
Okay.
That's from Aquaman.
Mm-hmm.
In DC Comics, they're said to live almost the same way.
Now, I think in Aquaman, that's after they're already sunken.
Exactly.
And I don't think they have the heart of Atlantis, the power source anymore that keeps them alive as long. So I think they've now dropping down to human-like
and they have to
deaths.
And also they were above land, and now they're underwater. So their whole body and their whole system,
their whole biology has changed.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then we have...
But I think not having that power source as well is playing a huge role.
Of course. Next is the Disney movie Atlantis, The Lost Empire, where it says that Atlanteans lived for thousands of years. For example, Princess Kida was over 8,500 years old during the movie. And then think about her dad. How old do you think her dad was? The king.
And he looked old. So he had to be like triple her age or probably quadruple her
So
age.
probably like 30.
36,000 years old, 30,000
That's
years old.
crazy to think about, right? And then
Well, remember, when we're talking about an advanced civilization, we're talking about wisdom and knowledge. How do you gain wisdom? You gain wisdom through time and experience. You know, so a set of people who are thousands of years old have a lot of wisdom, time, and experience, and that's how they've come to know all of this knowledge.
Yep. And then the next movie is Stargate Atlantis.
I love Stargate Atlantis.
So it was the same thing, that they believed that they lived to be hundreds of years old. They didn't really give a time. And then there's different folklores as well, where they're spanning over thousands of years. So there's not like a concrete story or folklore or rumor of how old they are.
Okay.
But it's crazy because you had mentioned Thoth and him being how old he is, and it correlates to some movies.
Yeah. And Billy Carson right now, he's studying in the pyramids that there was these chambers that has these esophaguses where they were huge, and it looked like you would get your body, place your body in, and there was other bodies waiting for consciousness to be transferred into them, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's honestly one of the craziest things I've seen.
Now maybe if you could just let me theorize for a moment.
Okay.
You know, we mentioned the Disney movie of the Lost Empire, Atlantis, the Lost Empire.
Yes.
And I'm gonna play a clip from it.
Okay, let's do it.
So that people, if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it.
The Disney one?
Yeah.
So good. Oh, I love this movie.
Look at Atlantis.
Right there.
They're calling the emergency alarm.
That was crazy. Okay, so a few things that I saw. One, the crystals, the auriculum.
So let's walk back to that real quick. One thing I want to point out. Let's go to this. All right, right here, something strikes the ocean.
Yes.
Now remember, we talked about Plato, the gods punishing Atlantis.
Yes.
Now throughout history, when we talked about the gods, it's always been coming from the skies, coming from the
Yes.
cosmos. Through the natives, you know, said the gods from above, you know, the
Yes.
heavens and the stars. So this could be a meteor striking Earth.
A
And
thunderbolt.
yeah, a thunderbolt, like you said, from Zeus,
Mhm.
you know. But another thing to point out, he tells him, "You fool, you've got us killed. You fool, you've destroyed us all." So it could have been a mistake they made, or
Yeah.
wherever they just came from, they did something they weren't supposed to do and somebody didn't like it, and it
That
said,
makes
by
sense.
your mistake, you fool,
You
you've
ruined us
destroyed us
all.
all because of your mistake. Now, it could have been a mistake of greed. They could have
Yes.
stolen something.
Yes.
They could have started a war and pissed somebody off.
Yes.
Right? Now, here comes the floods. Right? Now check out the vehicles too that they're flying. It looks like a reticulum, made out of a reticulum, right?
But you wait, pause right there for 1 second. Right there. Look at the lands, how vast and green they were, and they talk about the connections of the canals to the ocean and how everything was conducted together.
Yeah, it's spot on.
Yes.
And remember, we talk about Disney too. How does Disney get this so accurate?
How does Disney get this information?
Or he's just telling Plato's story exactly how he's telling it, right? Now, again, we pay attention to the vehicles. They fly in. Now, if you see at the very top, there's like a sensor that's noticing an alarm. It turned red. It's a warning. It's analyzing everybody flying in.
Yes.
They do the emergency call.
And they had said that in the middle of Atlantis was the temple of Poseidon, and where the magical crystal was that powered
the heart of Atlantis. So was that thing what's powering Atlantis, and it's sentient and it's aware of what's going on around it?
Absolutely.
Now watch what it does. So it's scanning for the problem. It sees everybody running for chaos, but the stone from above seems to be looking for the problem, but they can't find it, right? So now you can see Kira. That's her mother or her grandmother?
That's her mom.
Kira's mother, she has the stone around her neck.
She's royalty. That's why.
And it wants to connect with her. And she gets abducted by it, right?
She fuses with it.
Right? Now, some people even call it like a UFO. It's like a UFO experience right here. So the mother's fusing with the stone, right? Here comes the father. Now, it looks like a shield barrier is surrounding Atlantis.
Yeah.
He tells Kira, close your eyes, look away. How does he know to look away? Look at his eyes himself.
He knows.
He's blinded.
Yeah, he knows.
He has cataracts. So they've been in a situation where they've had to go on high alert and trigger this alarm system and go through this in the past. So he knows, close your eyes, look away, because what's about to happen. And what happens? A big flash. That flash would have caused them to go blind.
And then everything goes underworld.
And they sink.
Crazy. That was nuts.
Now, the reason why I point that out, right? Because again, I want to theorize. I went on Grok and I asked Grok a question.
Okay.
That I think was pretty important.
What did you ask Grok?
I told Grok to generate an image of what a human would look like if they were to survive a cataclysm like that.
Okay.
Some type of bright, massive EMP explosive, right? Exploding from a sentient crystal, power crystal source, and create a detailed image of what a human would look like, right? Alive after this, also 2,000 years later, right? Because that's where we're at today.
Yeah.
And this is what it created.
What the?
So this is what a living being would look like if they were to survive that accident we just watched.
Okay.
Right? Now follow me.
I'm following.
Right? Now, I asked it another question. Would Mr. Manhattan from Watchmen, which we spoke about in our alien
the
species,
blue dude,
yes, when we talked about interdimensional beings, that Mr. Manhattan is definitely an interdimensional being.
Yes, he is.
So I asked AI, would Mr. Manhattan from Watchmen movie be the perfect example of what this being would look like?
Yeah.
It says yes. Dr. Manhattan is an excellent reference point for the 2,000 years later version in Watchmen, Dr. Manhattan was a human who suffered a catastrophic energy accident in a particle accelerator. He was disassembled at an atomic level and eventually reconstituted himself as a glowing godlike being with crystalline blue energy aesthetics, detached from humanity and immense power. Okay, so Manhattan would be an actual representation of somebody who survived a blast of some type of particle accelerator.
Yeah.
Right? And then I asked it another question. I showed it an image of Kira, right? And the reason why I showed it an image of Kira is because there's another video.
Kita.
Yeah, Kita.
Come on, let's get this over with.
Where she's joining with the stone.
Because she has that royal blood as well.
Yeah.
And it senses danger.
But it doesn't realize yet. I'm gonna kind of skim through it. All right, so hold on, I'm having some technical difficulties. So you see, it recognizes her.
But it makes me wonder if only those of royal blood can connect with the stone during that time.
Maybe you have to be a descendant of the 10 sons.
Yes, for
and
sure.
the descendant of Poseidon himself. Because remember, if the stone came from Poseidon and is a part of him, you have to be a part of Poseidon to be a part of the stone.
To activate it, yeah.
Yeah, and this is why I told you the metals that you showed that was found in the water.
Yes.
I don't think it's activated because we don't have a royal person to combine with and activate it.
A descendant of Poseidon to activate it.
Yes. So the stones abduct her just like we seen with her mother, and it combines with her.
Yeah.
Right? But look at this process. You see that process? That's the same process of a particle accelerator.
Yeah.
Okay? She combines with, look, this is literally Mr. Manhattan.
Exactly like him.
This blue being. Right? Now, I asked Grok, and I gave it a picture of Kira like that, Kira like that. And it says, yes, this is another excellent example, right? The image you shared, a glowing translucent blue energy spirit from this movie, right? She's a human who survives and merges with a massive ancient sentient crystal power source. The crystal explodes, activates a huge energy, and she becomes a glowing translucent blue white being, energy being, right? So I said, is it possible to capture a being like this and harness its power and implement it through technology and specifically through AI? And it says in the real world, no, because of how hard it would be to capture this being.
Yeah.
Right? This being wouldn't allow you to.
Yeah, there's no way that you can just...
But in the movie, she's kind of like unconscious. She's in a trance. So they go to capture her and to take her. Right? So it's a possibility. Now it says harnessing its power. This is where it gets interesting. It says possible in theory. If the being's power comes from a stable, self-sustaining crystalline energy matrix, you could try to siphon the energy from her. So you don't necessarily need the crystal anymore. You can use the being itself.
Which makes sense because in the movie, they said Kita can't leave because if she leaves, she takes our energy force. And when she starts leaving, everything around Atlantis starts powering down and her dad dies.
So one city would have to die for another city to live on.
Emerge.
Right? And again, so I go implementing throughout technology. Again, when we talk about cobalt being blue and implementing it throughout technology, like our last episode, is basically saying yes. That it says, bottom line, capturing and enslaving such a being is probably impossible and ethically horrific, right? But merging with / learning from it through highly advanced AI and nanotechnology is more realistic, right?
So you can duplicate it, something like that?
You can transfer her powers into another crystal. Maybe like a quartz crystal that can take in energy, and you can now create a fake silicone prosthetic
It's not going to be as powerful
I was
though.
going to tell you, it could break and it could collapse just because of how much power. Now, why do I bring this up, right? Because again, when we talk about Atlantis, look at the shape of Atlantis.
Yeah. Beautiful.
It looks like a particle accelerator,
Like CERN.
like CERN, right? So now let's pull up a particle accelerator.
And CERN just closed down. Or whatever they did.
Look at this.
It looks exactly like it. And in the center is where you would put the crystal.
Yeah. And again, what happened to Mr. Manhattan? His accident was from an exploding particle accelerator. So did that happen to
my
Atlantis on a
goodness.
grand scale? A giant particle accelerator that the whole city is based on exploded. And is this why we turn CERN off throughout the years? Because we don't want to fall into the same accident from keeping it powered for so long and overusing
we
it.
have auriculum and we're trying to duplicate it, but it's not strong enough to power everything. So we have to turn it off and create more.
That too. Maybe we destroy that little piece, that mineral,
Yeah.
and we have to keep feeding it until we find out how to harness this massive amount of power. But again, CERN could explode from wherever it's at, and just like Atlantis,
Yeah.
you know. So that was kind of my theory of the possibility
Man,
of
but
it.
why is Disney always so spot on? It makes you wonder, right?
Yeah, where's Disney getting his information from?
Man, that's a little crazy, to be honest.
Yeah. So maybe you can connect this time.
Yes, absolutely.
You have more to show, or
I wanted to talk about how we talked about basically how it started, how Atlantis came to be, their governing, their beautiful things, but now how long they lived, or we think. But now I want to talk about basically what happened to Atlantis and the fall of Atlantis.
yeah, I kind of already theorized about it.
Yeah, with that one, we would have to double check over here.
You think the U.S. is going to win the world?
So we know that Atlantis, according to Plato, that Atlantis fell because of their greed, right?
Yeah.
According to Plato's account in Timaeus and Critias. So it says that Zeus actually is the one that destroyed Atlantis.
Wait, so we're gonna blame the destruction? This is allegedly.
Allegedly.
We're gonna blame the destruction of Atlantis on Zeus.
So just like Atlas was the king of Atlantis and he ruled under his brothers,
Okay.
over his brothers, Zeus
It's the same with his
is
brothers.
the same with his brothers.
He overlooks all of Olympus and his brothers.
He is the
and their
king of the
kingdoms.
gods, right? So
That makes sense.
it says that Zeus punished the people of Atlantis for their pride, their greed, and their corruption. So the reason he was so angry was because they became proud and arrogant. They were greedy and sought power over all other lands. They waged war and tried to conquer the world. And they fought the gods and lived without respect, justice, or moderation. So Zeus, the ruler of the gods,
That's where they fucked up.
decided to teach them a lesson they would never forget. So it started with Zeus's wrath. He became furious at the corruption and pride of the Atlanteans and withdrew his protection. So when Atlantis,
Also, he was helping protect.
of course, because he knew he was fine with it, just like everything, he has to keep the balance of the world.
Yeah.
And he was okay
And the
with the
peace.
good that Atlantis was bringing to the rest of the world. But when it started to go bad, he was like, no, he needs to keep that equilibrium. So the first thing he did was earthquakes. Violent earthquakes shook the island, destroying buildings, walls, and everything in their path. This is really important because we talk about the auriculum being so strong that it could withstand anything, even earthquakes. It could withstand fires, anything, but it had to be a power of a god
to destroy it.
to destroy it.
Yeah, it makes sense because they've already been to battle with so many outsiders and so many other civilizations
Mhm.
and at war with the Athens that nothing at this point could work against Atlantis. So to truly bring down Atlantis, you needed the power of a
of
god.
a god. Then, after the earthquakes, he brought floods. The sea rose in huge waves, flooding the land and sweeping away the people, their homes, and their cities. Then he brought fire and volcanoes. Volcanoes erupted, the sky burned with fire, and the earth itself seemed to split apart.
Whoa.
Finally, Atlantis sinks. In a single day and night of terrible misfortune, Atlantis sank beneath the sea and was lost forever. When the gods wish to punish, they first drive men mad with pride. That's what Plato said. And the lesson from Zeus was Zeus did not destroy Atlantis out of jealousy, but to restore balance and remind all people that pride and greed lead to ruin.
Whoa.
So that's how, according to Plato, that was the downfall of Atlantis.
So it's all still according to Plato. Huh. So what do you believe so far?
I believe that
Was the fall of Atlantis natural? Was it a natural occurrence? Just Earth doing its thing, flooding? Was it, some meteor? Was it truly, if you believe in mythology, the gods being upset what was happening, down in the ground? Because there's been tons of proof of situations like that throughout history, like the Tower of Babylon, where they came together to build this great tower, and the watchers or the gods from above were upset with what they were doing, and they infringed and changed their language where they can no longer construct. And again, the Tower of Babylon is a location and a building that we have yet to find today. So again, is that story too even real? Just like the lost city of Atlantis, where the gods are upset at how a group of people are doing something.
I believe that it's somewhere in the middle, right? The gods interfere with catastrophes, earthquakes, tsunamis, because they're trying to bring that equilibrium back into the world. So I think that's what Zeus was doing. With
Again, but
Atlantis.
then we would have to ask and play devil's advocate. Do you think that happens today? Do you think the gods interfere today and play that equilibrium between nations and just throughout the world? And
I believe so. I know that people are like, oh yes, like earthquakes, tectonic plates shift. Yes, I do believe in that, but you have to think a little bit more like to the root of where these places that earthquakes happens, that fires happen, that have volcanic eruptions, like what's happening in that land.
The thing is too, I forgot who was having the discussion, but the question is like, why do they want the city of Atlantis to be fake so bad? And somebody said it's because it's bad for business, right? So just like when I told you, Florida in a couple of years is not going to be around. Florida is a hot commodity right now. Everybody's moving to Florida,
specifically South Florida.
But what if you told all those people, hey, Florida's not going to be around in the next 10 years?
Yeah, that's
what is
bad
all
for
that? That's
house.
bad for business.
Yeah.
So what if you tell the whole world that, hey, one day a major cataclysm can happen and just wipe us all out? You as a human start to think, man, so what the fuck are we doing all of this for in the first place?
Yeah.
If one day, it could be tomorrow,
it's gonna all go to shit.
Floods could just happen out of nowhere, and in one day, in one night, all of civilization can just be gone.
Yeah.
Because remember, we talk about Atlantis being the size of Asia and Libya.
Combined.
That is huge continent. Imagine being an outsider and watching that fucking island sink and get destroyed.
Crazy.
You're at awe. Volcanoes, tsunamis, earthquakes.
You're all like, what the hell is going on
It
there?
looks insane out there in the ocean, So again, it's bad for business to tell the world that we one day can be just like Atlantis. It kind of messes your motivation.
Or also, I would say they don't want us to find Atlantis because of that power source and what that power source can bring.
That too, kind of like when we faked the moon landing.
Yeah.
We tried to stop the Russians to make them think that we landed there first, so
Yeah.
they kind of slowed down the race.
Mm-hmm.
So this could be a process of slowing down the race for these ancient things. Because too, that was one of the things I mentioned in the last episode, where I was kind of like not interested in looking up into the sky anymore, but more into the earth
The earth
and
itself.
how we're all in a race for minerals.
Yeah.
You know, because again, without these minerals, we don't have our civilization. Without cobalt, we don't have that computer, this technology,
iPhone,
everything.
nothing.
Yeah. So we need auriculum, this super powerful enrichment mineral to
Mhm.
power all of humanity. You know, we
Mhm.
almost need it.
Yeah.
You know, that's the power source.
Yeah. And maybe we're not able to get to Atlantis very often. So we take what we can. So we have to do, and if we tell people, you know what, yeah, Atlantis is real, more people are going to dig into it.
Yeah, all of us will be in our backyards
Yeah.
looking for Atlantis.
Everyone's going to be in the ocean trying to deep dive.
Okay. So what's next?
I would say,
I'll take over.
yeah, go for it.
All right, so go ahead and cast the computer.
Let me just screen.
Because I want to point out some things, really, because whether you guys believe Atlantis is real or not, whether you guys believe auriculum is real or not, there's people throughout history who do. So you don't need to believe Atlantis is real.
There's people that believe for you.
Yeah, and the fact that they do, they're altering history because of it, right? And one of those things I want to point out is throughout history, there was a man not to be spoken of,
Who is that?
right? And I don't want to offend nobody. I don't
Lord
know.
Voldemort?
Yeah, you could compare him to Lord Voldemort, you know? And this is not to offend nobody, but it's history and it's true. And we're going to talk about Hitler and the SS, right? Now Hitler believed in a master race.
Yes, he
The
did.
Aryan people.
The Aryan people.
That there were just this tall supreme beings, this tall supreme race. Now Hitler believed that the German people were descendants of these Aryan people. But again, who are these Aryan people? What is an Aryan? Who are they? Well, the Aryan people are said to be Atlanteans.
Allegedly.
Well, to them, Hitler believed
They
that
believed it.
they
Okay.
believed to their core that they were descendants of a master race and of advanced civilization.
Well, Hitler also believed that the Aryan race was superior because they were blonde with blue eyes and white, which did not resemble any of
So
the
that was the thing.
Atlanteans.
He took a story and he altered it to favor his own, to favor his own image, to fit his own image. He altered the story. Now that story, so there was an SS member. His name was Heinrich Himmler, right? He was chief of the SS, right?
Okay.
And was indeed deeply obsessed with Atlantis. So he was just a SS member, and he would always tell Hitler, hey, I want to go on this mission.
Okay.
Hitler would call it a ghost mission, a ghost hunt.
He didn't believe he was going to find
He
anything.
didn't believe you would actually find the lost city of Atlantis, the
Okay.
lands. But that doesn't change that he believed that he was a descendant of a master race.
Okay.
You just wasn't going to find it.
Yeah.
Now, Heinrich Himmler, he would go on a search, right? He believed it was the original highly advanced homeland of the Aryan race, right? Himmler utilized the SS to fund pseudo-scientific expeditions and research to find archaeological proof of the myth, okay? So he spent a lot of his time, money, and missions in search of Atlantis.
Okay.
Now, this is in 1935.
Do you think he was actually going to try to do real genealogy, or he was trying to go after the crystal?
He was definitely after something more sinister. You know,
Sure.
it wasn't just to be like, oh, look, we found our lineage, you know, look at us. No, it was to find some type of weaponry, to find some type of, you know, metal, like you said, stone, something
Yeah.
to put them ahead in power and in the race.
Wasn't Disney German too?
Yes, and he had a lot of German friends, and this is when I mentioned to you Project Paperclip, where we recruited or saved 1,600 German scientists from World War II, and they came over here to America, and we split them out into aerospace, agriculture, all different types of science.
So not a
subjects.
coincidence why all his movies are very relatable to the subject. Okay.
Yeah, into archaeology and the real world, searches. So in 1935, Himmler co-founded the Alnamerb, I guess they call it. The Alnamerb is an ancestral heritage society. So they created a small cult group, right? And this cult group is where the Aryan race started from. And this group, they were the ones who would go on out in these missions.
Okay.
So they created a group just for this, right? And this SSI think tank was designed to research the history, culture, and heritage of the Nordic Aryan race. And remember, there's that word Nordic
again.
Himmler and his scholars, such as Hermann and Otto, used the legend of Atlantis as their foundation, believing that when the ancient continent sank, the surviving Atlantean godmen migrated to places like the Himalayas and northern Europe to establish human civilization, again like Thoth.
Yeah.
So they believed that. They
Okay.
believed that there was Atlantean survivors. So not just Thoth, there could have been a few Atlanteans who had split up across different continents and tried to reestablish civilization with the wisdom and knowledge that they had from Atlantis. And this is why we see so much resemblance in Mexico with the Mayans, in Peru, in Egypt, and all throughout the world. They're building the same things.
Yeah.
How do they have the same knowledge? How did they travel from over here all the way over here and build the same thing?
Thoth.
Or Thoth over here and another Atlantean over here
there.
and another Atlantean over here, sharing the same wisdom from
Yeah.
Atlantis, right? They believed it. So again, whether we believe it or whether or not, they did.
Yeah.
And they took it serious, where
Yes,
they funded
believed
it. This was their excuses for their crimes,
Oh my
So now,
goodness.
expeditions and the hunt for origins. To prove these pseudo-historical theories, Himmler and the Anerbi, which is the society group,
Yeah.
sponsored several expeditions.
Okay.
That's a lot to
It's-
dedicate to Atlantis. Something that's fake.
They were definitely onto something more sinister.
So they went to Tibet. Now in Tibet, there's a book called One Foot in Tibet and One Foot in Atlantis. Now the Tibet people, they kind of have a similar story, that Tibet believe that they come from this advanced civilization, this master race, that they're descendants from them. But in Tibet, they're brown skinned, and the depiction that they depicted of the Atlantean peoples was completely different. And it goes back to the SS went over there, took this story, came back, and painted it completely different. Okay.
Stealing ideas.
Yeah. So they went to Tibet in 1938 to 1939, just for 1 year, led by zoologist Ernest Schaefer. The SS sent an expedition to the Himalayas to search for the origins of the Aryan race and Atlantean survivors. Okay, they went to Bolivia. SS officer and architect Edmund Kiss planned an expedition to the Andean ruins of Tiwanaku, convinced it was an ancient Atlantean or Nordic site through the world. Okay, these pseudo-scientific quests were not just eccentric hobbies. Himmler used these fabricated histories of an Aryan Atlantis as a core ideological weapon to justify Nazi military expansion, racial superiority, and the Holocaust.
What the?
So again,
So
whether
all
we
this started
from
because of that.
because they believe Atlantis was real. So the Holocaust comes from the story of Atlantis, the story of Plato.
Oh my God.
So again, whether we think it's real or not,
They believed it.
they believed it,
Yeah,
and
they
look what they
believed
did
it.
because of it. Right? So perspective on the Nazi occult. For a broader look on how Himmler and other Nazi leaders used pseudo-scientific myths to shape their worldview, explore the academic and historical analysis on Big Think or Check, the magazine, whatever. So the myths interwoven in these histories sometimes included, right, the belief of the Aryan Atlantis people, the Holy Grail, and Norse gods like Thor. So they believe Thor was real. And if you believe Thor is real, what are you in search of?
Of-
Thor's
yeah,
hammer.
his hammer. Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
So it says, Thor, we finally argue that these beliefs weren't trivial as they often help to reinforce Nazi militarism and racism. All right. So we're going to show proof of this, some pictures, right? Now, this was called the Tibet expedition. This was when they went to Tibet.
Okay.
And met with the people. These are Nazi Germans sitting down, meeting with the. Now look at this picture right
With
here.
the Tibetans,
He is sizing
he's measuring
his facial structure to compare to the Aryan race. This is why the German people and the Tibet people they felt like they had something in common with each other. This story,
That's honestly so crazy.
right? So again, they took it serious.
Yeah, they really did.
They went on a trip, right? Here's another one. Look at them in the tent right here. This one's crazy. It's BBC News. When Nazis tried to trace Aryan race myth in Tibet. Look at this photo.
Oh my goodness.
That is insane.
Yeah, that really is.
In 1938, Heinrich Himmler, a leading member of Germany's Nazi Party and a key architect of the Holocaust, sent a 5-member team to Tibet to search for the origins of the supposed Aryan race. Author Vyabhav Parinder recounts the fascinating story of the expedition, which passed through India a little over a year before World War II began. Now, notice that before World War II began,
Yeah.
I believe this trip was a month before World War II began. Now, this is why they were only out there for a year, because they had to come back. If anybody knows about the tomb of Gilgamesh, the giant, when his tomb was found, I believe it was like 2 weeks before the war with Iraq.
With the US and Iraq.
Yeah. So it seems that every time there was a war, it seems to be around the same time somebody was excavating for something.
For something leading
and
up to it.
close to find something archaeological, and it goes back to that race. Did we get word that Hitler was getting close to finding Atlantis, and we needed to stop him? Because what if imagine Hitler with Thor's hammer?
Oh my god, that would have been awful.
Imagine Hitler with what's this guy's glove?
The rings was the whole, I don't know what's called.
The gauntlet.
Yeah.
Thanos gauntlet.
Yeah.
And he snaps his fingers. Imagine Hitler with that. So this was the thing. This race
That'd have been awful.
for these things, and were we trying to stop him? Right. Now let's continue. Oh, here I'll show you the 1 foot in Atlantis and 1 foot in Tibet.
Okay.
So again, it was a book.
I was about to ask something. Was this a paper? Was this a book?
It was just a 21-page passage.
When was it created?
1890 to 1945.
See, another thing about Atlantis in the 1800s, kind of like Kircher's map.
Yeah, then in the encyclopedia.
Yeah.
Yeah. When Kircher was in the 1600s.
Sorry, yeah.
The one that you showed in the encyclopedia was
encyclopedia,
1806, right?
Yeah, 1885, I think.
Oh, so the roots and legacies of Nazi theories on Atlantis. All right, and this is just their theories of what they thought and why they went over there to Tibet. And this is why I told you, this is where he started comparing the stories of what the Tibet people thought and what the Germans thought about the Aryan people, and comparing and contrast them, right? But we're not gonna read this. If you guys want 1 foot in Atlantis, 1 foot in Tibet, right? Now let's continue. We're gonna run down this. Why do I have this shaved?
So there's a lot of information basically from different angles on people finding Atlantis or trying to find Atlantis.
Now I'm gonna show you what the Tibet people believed and why the Germans were interested in what the Tibet people believed, right? Now here, look at this image.
It kind of looks like CERN again.
This is Atlantis.
Oh.
This is a kingdom. A mythical Buddhist kingdom is called Shambhala. Most commonly refers to a mythical Buddhist kingdom, a prominent electronic music festival or independent book publisher. The mythical kingdom in Tibet Buddhist tradition, Shambhala, is a legendary hidden spiritual
hell?
kingdom said to exist in the Himalayas. According to the Kalachakra Tantra, it is a land of peace, wisdom, and enlightenment that serves as a pure realm with the human world.
Wow.
But now again, look at that resemblance. It kind of looks like Atlantis.
Yeah.
But it tells a different story. It says that it was peace, wisdom, and enlightenment. It completely disregards the whole being prideful
The
and
corruption, everything that Zeus.
so again, were the gods mad and destroyed Atlantis, or were their outside civilization jealous of the civilization and destroyed them?
That's a good theory too.
Because remember, we could have painted that picture as, oh, Atlantis was corrupt and evil and the power was running to their mind. Or were they just peaceful and just chilling, minding their own business?
And they wanted to take the curriculum from them from the beginning.
So that was the thing. The outsiders from the outside world, they were said that when they would see Atlantis from outside, it was just this big glowing city of light. No other civilizations had glowing cities of light.
Yeah,
They
no.
didn't have a power source.
Yeah,
They
no,
did.
didn't.
Atlantis
Yeah.
did. So imagine the jealousy from the outside world. Everybody's starving, no light, no nothing, and you see this city just glowing.
Glowing.
And prospering. So
They're jealous.
yeah, so there's a movie, I think it's like 1956 or 1965 or something like that. It's an old Atlantis movie. It's kind of corny, but if you pass by the corny shit and watch it, there's a lot of information
it's not too bad.
and detail on what happened in Atlantis. Now, the government of Atlantis, and I would say, I guess the brothers, they would come together at the round table
Yeah.
and they would strategize, right? And again, one of the brothers being head of military, that's his job, you know, and the other one, head of agriculture. They all
Yeah.
had different mindsets on what to do
Yes.
and how to strategize against the outsiders. One brother, he had this idea that, like, okay, yes, we're so powerful, we have everything, nobody wants to fuck with us. We went to war with everybody, they can't mess with us. But one brother, he had this idea, is like, okay, one nation couldn't mess with us, but it can come to the time where all the nations could join together
And then we're like,
and
fuck.
destroy us, you know,
Yeah.
all together. And that could happen to us too, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
The United States has, you know, caused so many wars throughout history and beef with so many people that if something was to happen to the United States, we wouldn't even know who did it to us, you know.
Like in that movie,
Created by Obama,
yes, I can't
End of the
remember.
World, or
Something like that. It's on Netflix.
yeah, you know, United States was being attacked and we didn't know if it was Russia, we didn't know if it was North
Iran.
Korea, South Korea, Japan, Iran. We didn't know who it was.
All the flyers they were getting thrown were from all
Yeah.
countries.
A bunch of languages, you know, and it was a bunch of men on our soil. We didn't know who was the
Absolutely,
enemy.
Yep.
So again, that's what they feared, just all these nations joining together and finally taking them out, which makes sense, you know. So again, what do you think about this Tibet kingdom I showed you?
I think
And the
they were
comparison.
onto something for sure.
The Tibet people?
Yes.
And again, look how far away they are.
Yeah.
A whole different civilization speaking the same.
But it could be the same thing that you said, that an Atlantean went to
went
them.
to Tibet and
Mhm.
explained it to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna show you this. This was the society I told you that the SS created, Anunnaki. This is the group society that they created just to go search on those missions for Atlantis. And you see the Atlantean lettering, the Nordic letters. This is the team that pseudoscience missions they would go on, right? It says was a pseudoscientific organization founded by Schutzstaffel in Nazi Germany, established by Heinrich Himmler, who I told you about. Devoted to promoting racial theories. This is the organization that took the story of Tibet and completely changed the narrative and painted it in their image. It was because of this group here. They're the ones who would publish in magazines. Oh, look at the Aryan people, and look how they look.
Yeah, and it says it there. What you said, the government of Nazi Germany used the organization's research to justify many of their policies, including the Holocaust.
Yeah, and it was because of this group.
Can you imagine, like,
And again, the only reason I'm showing this is to just show that if somebody else takes it serious, that's dangerous. You have
Yeah.
to take it serious as well
As
too,
serious,
even if
yeah.
it's fake or not real. You have to answer. Everybody has to answer the question. The whole world has to figure out whether or not Atlantis is real or not.
Yeah.
You know. All right, let's see where we're gonna go from there.
Or if it is, if they did find it, like, why are they keeping it such a secret?
Yeah.
That's some crazy information right there. I would have never thought that the Nazi Germans were like so involved wanting to find the lost city of Atlantis. That was something that I was not expecting at all.
Again, when we talk about Atlanteans, you know, going around to different civilizations and restarting, again, this is another one of them. This is the Tihuanaca ruins, right? Are a major pre-Columbian archaeological site in western Bolivia, located in Altiplano near the southern shores of Lake Titicaca. Titicaca.
Yeah, no, you're right, Titicaca.
So this flourished between the year 500 and 1000 AD. Now they had just a huge system. They had it says Gateway of the Sun, an iconic, intricately carved monolithic arch famous for its central figure, often associated with the staff god of Viracocha. Subterranean temple, a sunken courtyard notable for its perimeter walls. So it's just showing signs of an advanced civilization, just like how you see everywhere else. This is Atlantean wisdom and knowledge applied all throughout the world.
Which would make sense too. There was other Atlanteans going around the world.
Well, too, you know, you showed that image of just the way Atlantis worked. It's farming, it's, you know, its whole system.
They were very, very organized.
Yeah.
Very.
So again, where do we get it from?
Yeah.
Where do we get the knowledge from? It was passed down.
Yeah, from civilization to civilization,
Yes,
for sure.
Yes.
That's really crazy that it's been passed, just like how Socrates passed down to Plato and how it went down, all the teachings same to us.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's probably one of the craziest things. I'm still in shock about the the Nazi German one.
No,
I never would have expected that, to be honest.
now there's another one. They have another theory. The Nazi Germans, they have another theory of what they believe to on why Atlantis was destroyed.
Okay, well,
This is their theory on how Atlantis was destroyed. They called it the world ice theory, right? Because remember, there was the ice age.
yes,
How did the ice age happen?
I'm not sure.
Well, this is what they believed. It says Weltshire, some weird name, is a discredited cosmological concept proposed by Austrian engineer Hans Horbiger. Oh, so he's an Austrian. In 1894, it claimed that ice is the fundamental substance of the universe and that cosmic phenomena from stars to the Milky Way were formed by massive blocks of ice interacting in space, right? So it says the theory is completely rejected, right? Yeah, whatever.
But that's what he believed.
Yeah. It gained historical notoriety because it was embraced by the Nazi regime as Germanic science. So the Germans believed this was true,
Yeah.
right? Herbinger claimed his theory came to him in a vision in 1894. The central tenets of his glacial cosmogony included ice-dominated universe. Stars were believed to be glowing balls of ice that reflect sunlight, right? So he believed that the icy moons and catastrophe, that the moon itself, a ball of ice, crashed into Earth and caused the ice age.
Okay.
And caused the tsunami that destroyed Atlantis.
That's a little far-fetched, but I hey, if that's what he believes.
I think there was like a video that says that when the moon became our moon, it was an asteroid.
Yeah.
And it collided with Earth, right? And that cataclysm, that impact, basically put Earth through like a tremor.
Yeah.
And it kind of like got sick.
Yeah.
And its whole system wasn't the same no more because of all that material we took from the moon. Remember, this is all foreign material now. This came from
Yeah.
space. So whatever was on that moon, the debris, is now attached to Earth, and it's now going to affect it. But not even to that impact affected the whole world, caused tsunamis, tsunamis, and earthquakes. That impact. So if the moon crashed over here on this side of the world, it can send tsunamis and earthquakes all
Of course, the
throughout.
vibrations.
Yeah, you know, and especially look at the size of the moon.
Yeah, I believe the theory about ice, because if you think about like now, where are some places that the government does not allow us to go?
Antarctica?
Antarctica. We're not allowed to go there. It's covered in ice. And it's like, why? What are they hiding over there?
Yeah. In the beginning of Atlantis, the lost empire, in the beginning of the movie, Milo, the philosopher, he's giving his little speech on the existence of Atlantis and where it came from and how it started with Plato. But he points out a small discrepancy. People think that Atlantis is found somewhere near Ireland, but he changed the letter R into a C and he said Iceland.
And that's where they went, and that's where they found it.
And that's where they discovered.
And it makes sense why we are not allowed to go to Iceland.
Wait, I think we can go to Iceland. The country Iceland?
Where is it that we're not allowed to go?
It's Antarctica. But you gotta think, if Atlantis was here and it sunk, does it make it through the caverns and you can enter Atlantis through so many different ways?
Yeah.
So yeah, it may have sunk in here. You don't necessarily have to go where it sunk.
You can go to another avenue.
You need to find the opening that'll lead there.
That's crazy.
And you have to think, if Atlanteans are living within Earth, did they create doorways to block off us from coming in?
Yeah, they're like, we don't want these toxic people around us.
Yeah, most definitely.
I would agree there. But they should have let me into their civilization. I think
So what do you think about world ice theory?
I can see where he can think it can happen, but I don't agree. Do you?
Yeah, I don't agree. That's too crazy of
Too far-fetched for me, personally.
Yeah, most definitely.
So what other theory do you have for us when it comes to Atlantis that can correlate some of the stories?
Let me see what I have here.
Because right now you've been giving a lot of...
I'm dropping gems.
Yeah.
Now here is a place called Heligoland, right? In Heligoland, again, the Germans, on one of their 7 expeditions,
Again with the Germans.
they believe Heligoland is a piece of Atlantis that survived.
Okay.
Right?
And where is that?
Now, Heligoland...
It says it was a British occupation, but now it's in control over West Germany.
It says part of the German state. The islands are located in Heligoland in the corner of North Sea, and are the only German islands not in the vicinity of the mainland. So they're far off, but
Yeah.
they're owned by Germany.
Why do they think that that's a piece of Atlantis?
Right now, let's go to that.
Because that's very... What did they find over there that makes them think, okay, this is a remnant of Atlantis?
Yeah, I'll tell you right now.
That's a little far-fetched, as well. All the way in Germany?
Well, that's the thing. They wanted to attach anything that had to do with Atlantis to themselves.
Just to create a theory.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm surprised that they thought they were descendants of, or wanted to be descendants of Atlantis, because they are not. I don't think Atlanteans were white, personally. You live by the ocean. People that live by the ocean are usually tan.
True. So it says the Heligoland Atlantis theory is a fringe hypothesis proposing that the legendary sunken civilization of Atlantis is tied to Heligoland, an offshore German island in the North Sea. Proponents argue that the island and its surrounding submerged banks matches Plato's description of the lost northern paradise. The idea gained significance through pseudo-scientific traction during the 20th century. Nazi researchers associated with, again, the Anerbi, it's still that propaganda group, that anything that has to do with Atlantis, they go and they flip it around. championed the theory claiming Heligoland was an Aryan Atlantis, the ancient cradle of the Germanic race.
That's crazy.
Himmler even approved diving expeditions around the North Sea and find submerged stone walls that might prove the myth. So they dove down there, they went on expeditions. While the idea of an Aryan Atlantis in the North Sea has been widely debunked and belongs to the realm of fringe history, a few historical researchers have drawn parallels between Plato's accounts and the unique geography of the North Sea coastline.
Okay, so they really believe this theory.
And remember, this is in the 1930s.
Yeah.
This is 140
Yeah.
years ago, maybe, you know? And you're not going to tell me that 140 years later, nobody is searching for Atlantis.
Yeah, there's still people searching for Atlantis.
And I'm going to point out some of those people. So you have here
Who is that?
Michael Donnellan.
Okay.
And Michael Donnellan
Mm-hmm.
is in search
Of Atlantis?
Atlantis today.
He's an actor? Looks like he was an actor.
Oh, I think he was. You see, he reveals his stunning new theories. So today he's actively searching for Atlantis.
Okay.
I'm not gonna get into it, so you guys could go follow up on what he has on. I'm just gonna run down some people today who are currently looking for Atlantis.
Okay.
And again,
So that's one of them.
whether you think is real or not,
They believe it.
yeah, or they're in search of it.
Okay,
You
so
know?
we have one person for sure. Michael.
Yeah, Michael Donnellan, right? You have Josh Gates,
Okay.
again, another American television presenter. You know, they have these shows where they travel the world, go on expeditions themselves, you know, and they have to do it at an episode on Atlantis, of course. Expedition Unknown. See, the underwater mega marathon.
Passports.
And he goes on an
Bags.
expedition
Thermostat.
searching for Atlantis.
And underwater civilizations.
And that's July 7th, 2026.
That was right. Hey, that was a few days ago.
5 days ago.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, so he's actively searching for lost civilizations, right? So that's 2 so far, right? You got Robert Sarmas.
Discovery of Atlantis.
Yep.
An author.
Urantia book. On June 2nd, 2018, Robert Sarmas and his lovely family joined us. Wonderful talk. Hear the past. They're talking about Ezekiel. Yeah, they be talking about crazy
So
stuff.
there's been a few people already looking for Atlantis that are still alive right now.
Yeah, he's interested in mythology and search for lost civilizations. He has read widely and traveled extensively for over a decade in search of facts, sources, and knowledge on a variety of ancient mysteries. After years of research, Sarmas narrowed his focus on solving one of the world's greatest riddles, the perennial mystery of Atlantis. So now he's stuck on that.
Yeah, he must uncover something that just got him stuck.
He was on the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration of Geophysicists, right? Again, that's 3 so far.
Yeah, 3.
Jimmy Corsetti. He's been on
he's
Joe
on Joe
Rogan.
Rogan, yeah.
You know, he talks about lost civilizations as well. He talks about Atlantis. Ancient history researcher Jimmy Corsetti just released a new video on the Second Great Sphinx. You know, he's into Egypt. And again, if you're into Egypt,
You're into
you know,
Atlantis.
you're into Atlantis.
You have to be.
Yeah, because it talks about Thoth and you're into
Yeah,
Thoth.
you start learning
it
about
leads
Atlantis.
back.
Yeah, it's a full circle.
Full circle. Right? Let's continue. The Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities is the Egyptian government organization which serves to protect and preserve the heritage and ancient history of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
In December 2009, it was merged into the Ministry of Tourism,
Yeah.
with Khaled Al-Anani retaining its function. Now, The
It-
Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities, they're in search of Atlantis.
Yeah, I know that they're the ones that created the new museum
Yeah,
that opened in Cairo.
yep, that thing is beautiful.
Beautiful.
And again, they're looking for these artifacts to put in there.
Because obviously in
It
their
belongs to
research,
them.
yeah, and their research in Egypt, like obviously, like you said, it leads them back to Atlantis because
I mean, it's their history.
it's their history. So they're the ones that probably have more information than anyone else because
So besides the Germans and the Aryan people thinking that they come from the Atlanteans, if anything, Egyptians come from the Atlanteans.
yeah.
You know? No.
Honestly, that's a little crazy. All this information, like, it's like a full circle, and I would have never thought, you know.
So you have the Ephemerite of Underwater Antiquities Ministry,
And
a,
they're
s-
from Egypt too.
a specialized department of the Hellenic Ministry of Culture responsible for locating, protecting, and managing Greece's submerged cultural heritage.
Oh,
Now,
in
this is in Greece with
Greece.
Plato. So again, anything that pops up over there
Makes sense.
belongs to them.
Yes.
You know, these are rules and regulations in place. You
Yeah.
go out there in a boat thinking you're gonna go diving and you're gonna find yourself a crystal to Atlantis and walk away
Nope.
with it. No, it belongs to these people here.
You're not gonna find no curriculum and not give it to them.
Yep. And then I think for the last one, did I read that one? I think, right?
Yeah, the underwater one. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, the International Seabed Authority. So now anything that's found in the seabed belongs to them. I don't care where it's at.
Man, it's a whole committee.
Kingston, Jamaica. Yeah, so this is just to show now, you know, who's in
Yeah.
charge of the waters.
Yeah, yeah.
And the reason why I looked this up because me myself, I was interested in like, oh, what if we got in a boat and we went over there and we wanted to do some excavating, you know?
Yeah. No, if you find something, you have to give it up.
Yeah, you have to give it up.
Yeah.
You know,
It's the same thing here in the US. If you find something or you find even like an arrowhead or something from like Native American grounds, then you have to give it up to them. So it's like they're not really keeping it. They'll let you keep it if they don't feel like they need it. But most of the time they don't let you keep it.
so I think I'm gonna end off with this back on Thoth.
Okay.
Now I wanted to point out what was Thoth's duties as an Atlantean.
Okay.
And again, his legacy in the Emerald Tablets, he was a priest king of Una. He ruled as a leader and teacher in the Atlantean Temple of Light, guiding souls towards higher states of consciousness.
So I wonder which kingdom he fell under because there was a specific I want to say maybe it was under King Critias because he ruled learning, spirituality, and knowledge.
Well, him being the youngest and the
Mhm.
last kingdom and the last civilization, that was probably where Atlantis had came out of.
Yeah.
Because he was very recent he wasn't in the birth of Atlantis in the beginning. He was more at the end.
Yeah, but he was one of
Thoth.
yeah. He definitely had to come from there,
Yeah.
from the kingdom of Critias.
And it says, keeper of universal records, he authored the legendary Emerald Tablets, which recorded the lost history of Atlantis and the secrets of alchemy. Architect of civilization, he is credited with bringing advanced Atlantean technology, mathematics, and writing to Egypt, as well as overseeing the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza, right? So again, he created the Emerald Tablets, and maybe I'm going to leave it off showing the Emerald Tablets. And the Emerald Tablets are literally tablets made out of emerald. Now, these are yet to be found.
Mm-hmm.
This is not real. This is now a glimpse of what it looked like. And the thing is, there's been a lot of times where throughout history, people have been trying to leave information, manuscripts to leave behind for the next generations to follow. But some of those things get destroyed. You know, books get burned and destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Clay tablets get destroyed, you know, and broken. using the skin of some of the animals like cows and goat, writing on the skin
Yeah.
that doesn't stay preserved only a certain amount of years. So what is a material that you can use that you can leave a message on it and it'll survive?
It has to be rock or something.
Not just rock, an emerald.
Mhm.
Thoth the Atlantean knew he needed to create this tablet out of something that can survive cataclysms. This emerald can survive a volcanic
Yeah.
eruption, survive an earthquake, survive a tsunami, and you would still be able to find these tablets and read the information that was on them.
So was it really emerald or was it auriculum?
It's made out of emerald. It's called the emerald tablets.
But is
Remember,
it
we
called the
talk
emerald tablets because it's green?
Yes. No, but too, the material that it's
Oh,
made out of.
okay.
Remember, we're talking about when we talk about the strongest minerals and metals, diamond being the strongest.
Yeah.
Diamond cuts everything else.
Yeah.
So emerald was another gem that was said to be strong, that could
Yes.
withstand. Remember, when we talk about finding minerals and jewels, they're at the bottom of the volcanoes. That's
Yes.
where, under high temperatures of heat and magma, that's where emeralds are found. So an
Yeah.
emerald would be able to withstand all these cataclysms.
Yes, correct.
So he created these tablets, wrote the information, described the fall of Atlantis, described these floods, described alchemy and all this wisdom.
Yeah.
But these tablets are yet to be found as well.
Interesting.
And again, you would think,
So it leads us to nowhere again.
well, not to nowhere. We have to search.
Yeah.
Remember, we're so small, and again, we haven't searched all of the
Everything's so
ocean.
vast. Yeah.
We haven't dug up everywhere. Are we being stopped from digging up? They just
Yeah,
said
they
that
did.
there's underground areas under the pyramids.
Yeah, there's water source and stuff like that.
Well, there was
yeah.
these 4 pillars, I forgot under what pyramid, that they did a LiDAR mapping scan, and they saw that under the pyramid there's these pillars that go way down. So we can't even excavate that because, one, we don't want to destroy the pyramid, we don't want it to fall apart. So how do you do that without destroying
The integrity of
process?
the pyramid.
Yeah, but again, it's just, again, what I mentioned, being a polymath, being, interested in all these subjects.
Yeah.
We have to pick up where our ancestors left off,
Yeah.
and in order to pick up where our ancestors left off, you have, I just showed some of the people today who are still in search of Atlantis. I feel like they're picking up the
Hey,
The torch.
and running with it,
Absolutely. So, what are your final thoughts on this investigation? What do you think? Is Atlantis real? Is it not real? Is it still around?
So I know in the beginning I said I like the first theory that Plato created a story just to teach us a lesson. But I think, going down Plato's story, him being a wrestler, him
Mhm.
being interested in all these, categories, I don't think he would just make up a story. I think he was truly interested in the advancement of this civilization. He wanted to get down to who is this civilization? Where are they? I don't think it was a made up story. I think the story of Thoth helps, his depictions in Egypt throughout all of his
Mhm.
story helps, make me believe it. The fact that people throughout history are still in search of it makes me believe that there may be still something out there,
Mhm.
Maybe
agree.
one day me and you could be one of these people and
Yeah,
go
for
search
real.
for
That'd be
Atlantis.
super cool.
Where would we even start?
I would start probably somewhere in the Bermuda Triangle.
So you go to the Atlantic Ocean and you go to the Bermuda Triangle. That's
What
a good
happens if that's like the portal to get in there?
that's a good point, because that's something we didn't really mention, the Bermuda Triangle. Because what if that electromagnetic frequency that's pulsating from
Yeah.
there, that's making things disappear into other dimensions?
You're going to that world.
What if there's like a crystal down there
Yeah.
that's still on and amplifying?
Mhm.
And if we get too close to it, it's still reacting.
Yep. That's what I think. That's where I would look.
That sounds pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
Supposedly, there's not even people who would even drive the
No,
boat over there.
there isn't. People don't go there. And there's an island right in the middle of it. But
But that's like back to King Kong.
Yeah.
Skull Island. That
It
was in the Bermuda Triangle, right?
yeah.
And they had to find. I know they set up a guy who was supposed to take him there in a boat, and they went to the dock and
He
they're
was like,
looking at
"Hell
all
no."
these nice boats, and they're like, all right, where's the guy who's supposed to take us? And it was a guy with a boat that was run down, but he was the only one willing to
To
take
go.
that travel, to Skull Island and take them.
Yeah.
But you had to give him buku money, and I think that's what it comes down to. If you want somebody who's
Hazard pay.
hazard pay,
I feel that Atlantis was real. I feel like they were a great civilization. I feel like they did have a great power source that made them very special. I don't know if the gods had to do with the
Just-
destruction
okay,
of Atlantis. I want to say it was more
natural
natural
occurrence.
occurrence. And do I think that there's still Atlantic ruins? Yes. And I think that the Atlantean people have evolved.
Do you think the Atlantean people are demigods and
Yes.
descendants of Poseidon, and
Yes.
like how we described from Plato's
Something-
story?
Yeah.
Do you think Plato's story is accurate?
Yeah, I
Like,
would say yes.
How much of it?
I would probably say like 60%.
60% of his story?
Yeah.
What do you think is over exaggerated?
I would say that it too much of the gods here, the gods there. Like mythology has never really been proven. It's like a nice story as well. So I would say that
So
portion.
do you think Atlanteans are just humans?
No, I don't think they're just humans, but I don't know if it's actually God, it's, demigods, or if it's something else.
Do you think a giant is a god?
That's a good question.
When we talk about the doorways and these places in Egypt
I
with
don't
these
think
doors
they're-
that are so huge
I don't think they're a god. I think they're just a different species of people.
that are just bigger, like just
Yes.
giants.
Yeah.
Because too, when we look at basketball players, there's basketball players, and even too, there's a tribe, I forgot where it is in Africa.
That they're
They're like
tall.
11 feet tall, and the whole family is 11 to 12 feet tall, all of them.
So
So
yeah.
again, think of their parents and their parents' parents. They have to have been 15 to 16 feet tall, around there, 20 feet tall.
Yeah, I agree.
So and then too, if you're that tall, how does your brain work? You have to be smarter because your brain is bigger and your brain is smarter.
I would assume so and hope so.
And into your bone density, are you
Well,
able
it
to hold your breath
depends.
longer?
It depends, because if they still have regular like body
Human-
structure like us, like regular humans that are 5-6 feet tall, then how do they control their bone density, their heart? Like, it's different. It's
Yeah.
a little different, I would think.
And you think they're gods or not gods? Just a
I don't-
different human.
I just think they're a different human species.
Hmm.
So, wrapping this case file up,
Yeah.
I would say definitely still open.
Yep, case file stays open. I would love to know more. Like you just said, we saw a video that released 5 days ago.
We have to definitely
I'm-
dive in.
I'm gonna go watch that, see what he learned 5 days ago, and just throughout this year, 2026, there's gonna be more information. Next year, there's gonna be more
Yeah.
information.
Yeah, definitely
search is not
follow
over.
us on Twitter, and we'll be posting about our thoughts on that video and what we saw, if it correlates to our investigation or if we learned something new,
Yeah,
right? But I think it's definitely still open. This investigation was a very thorough one.
yeah, it was fun. I really liked this one. We did a lot of research on it. I feel like we learned some new things. I feel like it correlates with some of our older episodes, and I think it'll also correlate with some of our future episodes, and we're gonna have to come back to this one.
Yeah, and if we missed anything or any information that you would want to let us know, DM us,
Yeah,
tweet
put it in
at
the
us,
comments.
put it in the
Remember, guys,
comments.
we're not claiming to know everything. We're doing research just like you guys. The same research that we came across, you guys could come across, is
Mhm.
there. Just ask the questions. And again, coming back to Socrates, we need more people to ask the questions. We
Yeah.
don't want to just knock things out the air. We want to dive deep and really come with concrete proof,
Mhm.
and find it. Be more skeptics.
Yeah, and I would want to know your opinion
Yeah,
on
what-
Atlantis. What do you think? Is it real? Is it not real? Is it lost civilization? Is it just rumors made up?
yeah, I would love to hear people's thoughts. So with that being said,
Thank you for joining us on this investigation, but it is still open 100%.
yep. And that's all. Thank you for
Thank
watching
you.
Paranormal Intelligence Bureau.